Fade to the basket, hammers it home. Sexton solito de tres en camino. Pow! Sí, señor, el Torito Colin Sexton.
Welcome to CavsHQ. Thank you for joining us on Fox Sports Ohio and the Cavaliers Radio Network. Now, here are your hosts, John Michael and Rafa Hernandez Brito.
Well, welcome to CavsHQ, alongside the Spanish voice of the Cavs, the Spanish voice of the Browns, nationally renowned, actually internationally renowned, to the NFL game in Mexico.
Finally.
Rafa Hernandez Brito, I'm merely John Michael. Great to have you aboard. You had it was a weekend of football. We'll talk Cavs in a moment. You have returned after the Browns game.
Feels good to
see
be
you.
back.
Good to see you in one piece.
It was actually nothing that anybody expected, I think, and I think we can talk about it later. But it was a very, very good experience outside of
Really,
Heinz
I
Field.
was expecting it to be a dogfight mentality. After 2 weeks ago,
it was
Steelers
not.
Browns.
It was not.
It was not.
No.
All right, we're gonna have Joe Gabriele is gonna be joining us in the first half hour. He'll be joining us in the next segment. Let's save that discussion for him. All right.
My spotter, by the way.
Oh, he is your spotter, right? Joe Gabriele also is the spotter for the Spanish voice. So the Browns will have him straight ahead right here on Cavs HQ.
Detrás de centro, va a venir la entrega para el novato, corre por el centro, hay un hueco, está en la 20, Nick Chubb todavía de pie, 30, Nick Chubb, 25, 40, 50, Nick Chubb, hasta la vista, baby, Nick Chubb, touchdown!
Oh, I love that. I love that. There are so many good things about that clip. I don't even know where to begin.
The longest touchdown run for Nick Chubb in Nick Chubb's career.
Right. The call obviously is fantastic. The call is nationally known, internationally known. Is well done. But I like your spotter, who happens to be this guy, Joe Gabriele. Welcome to the show.
Nothing gets in the way of my pretzel.
Right. I want to point that out to people. Look carefully right now. We're going to show this clip. We're going to break it down right now. Look very carefully at Joe. He's excited about the touchdown run, but at no time does the pretzel get put down. You have to continue.
The best part is
it was a good pretzel.
When he was about to break, around the hasta la vista baby call, he put the pretzel down to bump me because he was about to break the run, and then once I'm finished with the call, he picks up the pretzel and greets everybody else in the booth.
It's important. I mean, hey, they're good pretzels.
Well, the thing was, I was trying to smash it down real fast, and then the play happened. It was like a 98-yard run, but the Browns were at their own 11. So I figured, 88-yard run or something like that?
It was a 92-yard.
92-yard run, so they're at the 8-yard line, and I thought, well, I got time to crush
right
this
in front
pretzel.
of us, too.
Right, I have time to crush this pretzel real quick. And then he took off, so I started just smashing it in my mouth, and
So you guys had an interesting ball game this weekend. You were there. You've been spotting your
Spanish radio spotter. Yes,
continued to this season.
Yes.
You both were in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Thoughts?
Well, it was a great start for the Browns. He just couldn't hold up the effort for the whole game, and then Devlin Hodges played really well.
Ducky.
I thought when it was 10-0, I thought it was going to be a 28-10 game or 28-3 game or a 31-3 game. I mean, I don't know. We watched it all on TV, but did something change in the?
I don't know what they did because he wasn't throwing it much in the first half, but after Chad Thomas sacked him in the first drive, they never even came close to getting him.
Yeah.
So they obviously, your favorite coach Mike Tomlin did something to adjust there, and then they just could never put pressure on the guy.
They stink, but what I want to say is that before I went there to Pittsburgh, everybody said, "Oh, don't wear your Browns gear. Don't do it." I'll tell you, they are very friendly in Pittsburgh. There's a different attitude in Pittsburgh than there is in Cleveland.
I was going to ask you, I thought it was going to be scary,
like a bloodbath.
On the heels,
everybody warned me. Oh my God, it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean the anger and the.
There's not. It's not like Brown Stadium. It's not. It's a little different. Yeah. I think Pittsburgh fans have won so much that they're just over it.
I walked around the stadium and then through the lot looking for your parent, for your father and your sister to, they were tailgating outside the stadium. and nobody even noticed my Browns hat.
That's what I was wondering about.
Nobody-
Whether it
Yeah,
was,
no,
my
nobody-
folks, my family. When my family said, "Yeah, we're going to be there. We're going to be tailgating,"
Yeah.
my first thought was that might not be the game you want to be. I mean,
There were a lot of
No,
I
they
there
don't
were a
know
lot
a
of
Chiefs
Browns
game or
fans
something. Or,
catching and throwing the ball with Steelers fans, and it looked like a normal event. I actually was a little surprised by the calmness of
yeah,
Me too.
people
Yeah,
were
I
just
thought-
really enjoying the tailgate
the game
before the
yeah,
game.
That's interesting.
It was really good. And
But-
then after the game, you obviously didn't get any.
No flack at all. You know,
No.
a guy. I
Did
told
you have
Rafa,
Browns gear on?
I had my Browns hat on,
Uh-huh.
and I told Rafa that after the there's a big mass of humanity leaving the stadium, and there was a guy wearing a shirt that said Pittsburgh sucks on the back, and he was walking through doing, "Here we go, Brown, woo woo," and everybody just laughed at him. They just laughed at him.
They were probably questioning what the
Like,
hell
what's
is
wrong with
this
you?
guy?
Yeah. Nobody was mad or anything. It's
Let's talk about a football game that went the other way.
the
Buckeyes,
Steelers.
The Buckeyes rolled.
did.
You know what? I predicted 3 touchdowns. I stand corrected. It was 4. It
I
was a
told you,
4-touchdown
I
game,
told you Ohio State would cover the over just by themselves,
which they did.
and they did.
Which they did.
And I don't know what happened after the first. Again, after the first drive, Michigan drove the ball straight down, scored a touchdown, missed the extra point, and then
That was it.
well, I mean, I remember after the game, Jim Harbaugh was asked. Jim Harbaugh, correct?
Jim. Yeah.
He was asked, is there a talent gap? Is there a coaching gap, a recruiting gap? And he kind of got cheesed about that. But there is, I believe, there's just a talent gap. They're just a better Ohio State's just they have more talent. They're deeper. They're better.
They're
more
scary.
skilled. They're
that
faster.
team
everything.
is scary
Yeah.
right now. That team is scary.
And Barry Alvarez, former Wisconsin legend, said that's the best Big Ten team he's ever seen.
Yeah.
But I want to say something. I can't wait to see them against a team
here's
that
what I
has
hope.
that kind of talent.
I don't want them to have to play both LSU and Clemson. I just want it to work out so that LSU and Clemson play each other. That they
Why?
only have to play one, because I don't want them to have to play 2 big games like that. I think I think they can win. Obviously, they can beat both of those teams. I just don't want them to have to play both teams and route to the national championship. I think
They probably are going to end up.
I think they're going to roll this week coming up in the Big Ten championship. They're going to roll.
Wisconsin, yeah. I
They're
can't
gonna
believe
roll.
they killed Minnesota.
They're
Yeah.
going to roll.
I don't think they're going to roll.
I do.
But okay.
I do. I say they win. I say they win this game just as easily as they win the last one.
And I'm really grateful for the Cavs organization to making my maize and blue sweatshirt.
Oh, I
so
see.
can wear on
That is a very nice sweatshirt.
Rafa's a Michigan fan. For those of you new to the show, Rafa's a Michigan fan.
I like the colors.
Okay.
That's why I'm a fan.
Oh, okay. Here we
I
go.
like the helmet. I
Before
like
he
the
was
movie
singing the
Red
Michigan, he was
Dawn.
singing the
There we go.
Michigan fight song.
Time
before
to
the
hedge the
weekend.
old bet.
Now
the
he just likes the
the
colors.
best part about the movie Red Dawn is when they come into town and they go Wolverines. And he races.
No, it's not. We're going to be back and
Never
talk
watched
some.
that?
We're actually going to talk some Cavs here on Cavs HQ when we come back. And we're back on Cavs HQ here in the depths of Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Our cozy set. Cavs.com founder, beat reporter, beat writer, Joe Gabriele.
And Los Browns in Espanol, spotter.
Yeah, spotter for
See,
spotter
that means
for the,
yes.
for the
Pretzel
Browns
man.
in Spanish. All right, for those familiar with the show, you know what happens now. Joe brings something new each and every week. We don't know what it is. Joseph, what do you got?
I was going to say let's do quarter because we're right about at the quarter turn.
Right.
Let's do quarter turn awards.
Okay.
Just some
It's
predictions.
quarter turn.
Cavs or league?
Let's do both.
All right.
If
It's
you don't
quarter
mind.
turn. It's quarter turn, like a horse racing.
Right.
terminology?
Quarter
Yes,
pole.
the quarter pole.
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Okay.
So I mean, if you want to start with him, I'll start. MVP for the league. I'm going to say Luka right now. Luka and LeBron are neck and neck.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're talking. Well, let's do league first.
League
What do
MVP.
you got?
Luka
You know,
is.
I know the voters, and I think he should have more MVP awards than what he has right now. And I love Luka, but what LeBron is doing at 35 years old, it's just you can't argue with him.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. You can't argue with what LeBron is doing. And I know he has Anthony Davis, who probably get some votes away from him,
Yeah.
but he's still the leader.
He's-
of the,
yeah.
LeBron's
And
top-
he's still the best player in the world.
He's
Yeah.
top 10 in scoring right now, 26 points a game. He leads the league in assists, does LeBron. He's
which
the
is
only,
amazing.
only player in double figures in assists at nearly 11 a game. Doncic, by the way, is third in the league in scoring, 31 points a game. He's second in assists, 9.6. I'm not going to pick this guy, but James Harden is averaging 39 points a game. 39 points a game, taking a lot of shots. He's not my pick. He's not my. When we used to have selections. Broadcasters used to get picks up until about 4 or 5 years ago. They did away with that. Now it's purely writers around the country. Giannis is still a candidate.
Yeah.
Giannis is second in scoring at 31 points a game. I'll tell you what. If you're going to do most improved too, I'll take Doncic for MVP, and I'll certainly take Doncic.
I'll tell you one thing. When you look at MVP, there's one category for me that is the most important one, and that is if he makes everybody else around him better.
Okay.
And I think LeBron has the edge on Luka on that one. And I think
I don't know about that either. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Dallas. I didn't think Dallas was going to do anything this year. I thought they were going to be fine. I thought they were going to be a fringe Western Conference team. He is them playing some great basketball.
Giannis and Harden are more like the one-on-one type of guys.
That's where I thought you were going. Harden. I mean, that's the argument against Harden. Does he make everybody around him better?
No, absolutely not.
Right. So that's what I thought you were going to say. I don't know. Are you telling me that you think LeBron makes the Lakers better than Doncic makes the Mavericks?
No, I think
it's
players.
neck and neck.
I mean, it's tied. They're both competing there, but again, 35 years old. When you put everything in the
I think LeBron is a better supporting cast outside of Porzingis. Everybody on the Mavericks is a role player.
Yeah,
every single guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, go ahead.
But again, you have to. Well, I'll say you have to look at Milwaukee again. Look at the Cavs game last week. The guy can take over a game at the end of the game. That is, he literally took the game over, and he can do that in any game he wants.
If he can, we talked about this on the broadcast. AC and I, it's slow, but we see Giannis extending his game. Okay, he's taking some threes now, making a few, not as many as he'd like to be taking, but he's taking threes. We saw a very similar path with number 23 of the Cavaliers, didn't we? I mean, Joe, you covered LeBron every year he's been here. The scouting report used to be let him shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Let him take
zone. Let him
make
him shoot over the top of you.
LeBron said, "Okay,
Give
me a year or two and wait and watch."
Did LeBron look that uncomfortable though at the beginning shooting?
No,
threes?
I would not. I would say
Giannis,
no.
Well, he was
Giannis
uncomfortable
aims
shooting
them.
threes. Yeah, Giannis is.
He thinks about
He
it.
still he does everything so fluidly that when he thinks about it stands out.
He's like you can see
Right.
him aiming it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
MVP
of the team, Cavs.
I think Tristan hands down. I think Tristan's been the best player on both ends of the floor.
Agreed.
Any
Tristan.
disagreement?
No. I go with
I mean,
Tristan as
heart
well.
and soul. I think he's been huge in terms of also off the floor. I mean, buying into what Coach Beilein is trying to do, holding his teammates accountable, holding them accountable to the coaching staff. And I think you could almost make the argument Tristan's been more valuable to this team off the floor than he has been on the floor.
And I know we won't include him in the most improved section of the pickings, but he definitely has the most improved hook shot in the league because he really put the work in it, and the
he's
percentages that he's hitting it at.
He
no
works.
longer a escape valve shot. He's really looking for that shot, and he's really setting it up.
Yeah, and I call Tristan the engine of the team in that when he comes out like ready to rumble, the team comes out. He drives the team. He really, and that goes for this team. It went for the finals teams.
Yeah.
When Tristan comes out ready to rumble, the team follows behind.
Let's not forget either that you think about when Portland came to town, Anthony Tolliver was being used in the middle. Yusuf Nurkic is out for the Blazers. Anthony Tolliver started that game at 6'8". It reminded you it was the first time in years Tristan actually had a height advantage over who he was dealing with.
Yes.
That's what he deals with on a nightly basis, guys who are taller, guys who are bigger, and it doesn't seem to affect him one bit. I like, too, to marry those things together, his offensive game. Cavs knew he had a mismatch down there. They're feeding Thompson. If you would have said 3-4 years ago the Cavs opened up the game by feeding Tristan Thompson 5 or 6 consecutive times, you would have said you're crazy.
Right, exactly.
And it just gives you an idea of how far his game has progressed. So I like Tristan for MVP. What else do we have?
Most improved, again, I'm kind of going by the zeitgeist out there, but the word is Pascal Siakam is again.
He gets better and better.
Yeah, he might be
take
in
it another
line.
level.
Right, he might be in line for it again because he's again taking his game up to like a whole nother level, which would be unprecedented. A guy to win that 2 years in a row.
That's a team that I thought was fixing to fall. I
Me
thought
too.
the Raptors were going to fall right off the map. But again, we're only at the quarter pole. But that's they're still playing well. They've had injuries too. Ibaka's been out, Lowry's been out, and Siakam's been.
But I like what you said earlier.
rolling.
Luka is definitely in his second year. He does not look like a 2-year player.
And he's
at all.
20 years old. I mean,
I
on
know.
top of it.
But
you know?
he's been a professional for a while and playing in the Spanish league.
True.
You know, against all grown men. Was the MVP. It was like, you know, a big tournament. It was part of Real Madrid. So that I think, but still coming here, crossing the the waters and looking like in the conversation for MVP of the league.
Without question, he's in that
It's
conversation.
unbelievable.
Yeah, without question. So I have him for most improved. I have him right there for MVP. What else? What else do you want to do?
Well, I was going to say for Cavaliers' version of most improved, who also I think could be in the conversation league-wide this year is Larry Nance Jr.
I like Nance.
I mean, he's changed
That's
his
my
game
pick.
again. And, you know, we asked Kevin Love in the locker room Friday night about whether his trajectory as a three-point shooter is similar to Larry's. As far as Kevin came out as kind of a banger when he first started.
That's interesting.
He really didn't shoot the three-pointer that often. You could look at his stats. He developed into a three-pointer shooter out of the post, and that's where Larry is right now. So Larry's game really, and he has said if he can hit 35, 36%, things change for him because then guys have to come out and guard him. He can go around him. So Larry, you know, he's definitely my Cavs version of that.
And this is something that Coach Beelan had mentioned throughout the training camp and all the way to today, how just making the big guys take the three or practice the three was going to make him better from that 15 feet distance, where nobody makes a living anymore in the NBA, but you can actually take. And Larry stepped up the other day, pulled up the other day for a couple of 15-footers that looked really good.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that he can add. You know, he has the three, but now he has the mid-range jumper as well.
Yeah, and I mean his shot is natural. He shoots the three with no effort. You know,
Great jump shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a perfect jumper. So I think Larry can still take another level to his game.
At the start of this week, he was shooting threes at 39%, over 39%, had already hit 22 on the season. He was only in the 30s last year. So
He hit three against Milwaukee.
So he is off and he is running. All right, what last? We have a couple more minutes.
Last one, you know, as long as the Cavs are loaded with rookies, rookie of the year.
We haven't seen one of them yet. We're still waiting for Dylan Windler.
Right, we're still waiting for Dylan, but you know, right now, I mean, John Morant obviously is your guy, but he's obviously injured now. But
Morant got off to a great start.
Yeah.
How do you like Kendrick Nunn with Miami?
Kendrick Nunn, I tell you, Miami, they have two really good rookies, Kendrick Nunn and
Tyler
Tyler
Hero's
Hero.
not bad
Another
either,
good, you know, they play with confidence. They're, you know,
I
hate it, but they're good.
It depends. I like what I've seen out of Morant. Rui Hachimura is interesting in Washington.
Yeah,
Had a big game
He
the
had a
other
game
night.
against us too.
Yeah, I like John Morant, but I think Nunn is a heck of a player.
Yeah.
We'll see if Kendrick Nunn can keep this up throughout the course of the season.
And
Remember,
he was
in the G League last year.
And he was MVP of like the Verizon League. That's like Cleveland State League. You know what I mean? So yeah, it would
that
be
means
kind
he
of,
has it in him, though.
it's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't care what conference it is that you lead. If you lead a conference in something,
Yeah,
you have.
and
you
that's
have
what I
game.
always say about Dylan Windler. You know, who's kind of almost been a forgotten man. The guy led this conference in three-point shooting and rebounding. That says something about a player.
Are you guys surprised how the kids in New York at Barrett have been kind of quiet or under the radar?
I don't know. I mean, you know,
Cam
Kevin
Reddish,
Kevin Knox, actually, second-year player, just fell out of the rotation. David Fizdale said he's not buried, but, I mean, he was highly touted last season. Yeah. I don't know. Is it, you know, some would argue maybe he's not in a great playing environment. You know, that team is so strangely molded. You know, 4 power forwards they brought in. It's an odd team. No point. Right. It's tough. Would an RJ Barrett be better in a system that's a little more usual, a little more ordinary? Maybe he would. I don't know.
Speaking of rookies, how bad is Zion's injury killing the league? They're dying to have that guy play right now. I think really. I mean, it's
there are a lot of national games where
a lot of national
New
games.
Orleans
Yeah,
a lot of national games with the Warriors in them.
Yeah, that was another
30
thing.
30 and change.
That was another thing.
But for our team, I know Darius has been starting, so he's probably going to be the front runner. But I like what I see from Kevin Porter in the last, at least on this homestand.
Flashes. There's a lot
his
of flashes.
athleticism, and again, a rookie, a young kid, he's learning, and he seems to be soaking some of the stuff.
He gets
in.
better. I mean, again, the whole.
You gotta get better on off the floor from the jump shot. But I like his athleticism. I like his defensive effort. And when he starts dribbling that ball, it looks odd sometimes, but he's really really got handles.
I like Garland. I mean, Garland as well,
Yeah.
too. I
I
mean,
mean,
remember,
he's a player.
The Cavs in that 1 week. I mean, Garland played more games that 1 week when the Cavs played 5 games than he did his entire collegiate career. I mean, and he, to me, he continues to get better and better as well. We know he has the vision. We know he can pass. I think he's getting more comfortable with that shot. I think he's also getting more comfortable with the speed of the game. Let's not forget that he had 11 months where he didn't play competitive basketball. He was injured after that 5th game in a single season of college. So he's getting there.
I'm sure Delhi will take some time with him and making him work on his floater. Remember how Delhi used to work on that floater? And he talked about he hasn't really faced guys that this tall in his life, so he had to develop a different shot for him to finish. And I would put him with Delhi working out on that floater, and he'll be really good.
The buzzword seems to be all year long progress. Are you getting better every game, every week? And both rookies that have played are doing that. Kevin Porter has gotten a little better every week. Darius Garland is now getting incrementally better, it seems like, by the game. So, again, if they just keep making progress, they're 19-year-old kids. So you got to think, what are they going to be at 22, and what are they going to be at the end of this season?
Joe G, always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
More Cavs HQ right after this. We welcome you back to Cavs HQ. We're coming off of a 3-game road trip and a back-to-back. Tristan Thompson didn't need a day off. He spent the next day giving back to people in the city and the community that he has called home since 2011. Hundreds of families in Cleveland's Huff neighborhood had a happier Thanksgiving thanks to Tristan and the Cleveland Cavaliers, as the 9-year NBA veteran provided a full Thanksgiving dinner for 250 area families. The families were selected by Fatima Family Center, where Thompson spent Sunday afternoon handing out turkeys with all the fixings. Each family received everything they needed for a full holiday meal, including a pumpkin pie to top it off. Tristan's turkey giveaway tipped off the annual Cavaliers season of giving. Cavs in the Community is brought to you, as always, by Discount Drug Mart. Angel Gray joins us next on Cavs HQ. Hey, we welcome you back for the second half of Cavs HQ. It is John, it is Rafa, and Angelique.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Angelica.
Good to see
Angelica. Wow, good job.
One of my partners on the television side, Angel Gray. Good to see you.
Nice to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thank you for
You
coming.
ready to go? This is a very serious show.
I know it's very serious.
Yeah.
I got really nervous. I talked with my agent. He said just make sure they give you all the keys
long
of what
as
you
you
want to
got-
say, the rundown.
Yeah.
So
As long as you
I'm
cleared it with your
prepared.
agent. I am kind of tired of hearing you two talk about how sore you are every morning. These two are workout partners. Fill us in, right? Is Rafa
He's the leader.
He's the leader.
He is the guy that says we're going to meet here at
Right.
this time, and we're going to probably go through a workout that's going to have you sore for the next 8 days, and we're going to do it at 4 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning.
see, therein lies the problem.
Well,
I'm sure he doesn't
let
get
me-
mad either
let
way
me-
if you
let
don't
me
show
make
up
something
once or
clear.
twice, right?
At home is kind of easy because we go to Tremont Athletic Club. They treat us like kings there. We love it.
And
We're
queens.
part of an army. And
plug, right?
Lucy Matt from the computer team.
Yes.
And Angel Gray and myself work out.
That's your team.
Sometimes Mary
You three.
helps us.
All right.
We invited
Mary
you.
Shortman helped us. We invited you. You didn't want to come.
I work at night.
Okay,
right?
so
yeah.
those days, like on non-game days, we work out at 8, 7:30. And then when there is a shoot around on game day, we do 7:15.
It's a little early.
But on the road is a little different.
See, here it goes, right?
On the road, the bus to shoot around is at 9 sometimes.
That's right.
So AC and I, your partner on the TV side, we are the first guys at 6
Yes,
a.m.
AC religiously is in there.
6
right.
a.m. we are at the gym. But this past road trip, when we went to Miami, I only went to the Miami-Dallas part.
She's
I
the
missed the New
everlasting,
York
right?
portion, but she also, I know from talking to my sources,
Yeah.
that she also, like the road, you know how in the movie, the Hangover, like Bangkok got her? Well, the road got Angel.
The road got me,
Didn't
they
see
did.
her once at the gym.
I thought you were still on the
Versace
road.
mansion in Miami.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. What happened in
You
Dallas?
you went to the Versace mansion in Miami.
The Versace mansion was a big thing for us because last
Yeah.
year we got kicked out. We weren't allowed to go in. So I was like, you know what? This year it's happening. We're going to make sure that we get the tour. We saw where he built Madonna's room as well as Princess Diana's room.
Was
so,
it fun?
I mean, it was awesome. So,
Madonna had a room in the Versace mansion.
yes, she did.
See, you
See,
missed
had
that because you were working out.
you been there?
No, but this is the best thing. I always invite them to come to work out with me. They didn't even mention they were going to the Versace mansion.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
we
good.
had a plus.
Alisa,
Because he had to be up
Alisa
early.
Dombrowski,
I wouldn't
Lucy
have
Matz,
mentioned
and her
it.
went on their own.
Yeah.
I would have been.
Well, you're a
David
world
invited you.
traveler too. You were coming from
Yeah, I just come
Mexico,
back
and
from
then you were
Mexico.
just coming back from Toronto. So we're sorry that you're such a rock star and we missed out.
My point is continue to do fun things. On the
Thank
road.
you, I will.
Of course. What, so you have to wake up to work
AC
out?
and I leave for the day when John Michael joins us at 6
I
a.m.
can't-
for a
I'm
workout.
an
I'll tell
afternoon
you this.
guy. I
Have a
can't.
whole day.
When you work at night and do you fall asleep right after you do a game?
No, I
Either
go to
of you.
bed like
I
at
do.
1,
You do
2.
right away?
No, well, not necessarily. I go home, I'll like see what's on Netflix, and
Yeah.
then probably
You
glass
be
of wine
asleep,
and go to sleep.
You can be asleep by midnight? I can never be asleep.
But
on
to
a game
me,
night. 2 or
just
3.
waking up after a 4-hour nap, it's like part of the not punishment, but part of the workout.
Right.
You know.
See that face? Yeah, I
Part of
agree.
the
with you.
na-
It's ridiculous.
I'll
It doesn't even make any sense.
add this, and this is where I'll leave it.
All right.
AC, you talked about him being up at 6 o'clock in the morning with you. We did a workout at maybe like 6:30.
You and who? AC? Or
No,
you
no,
and
no.
him? Yeah.
Me and I walked in maybe a couple minutes late, but him and AC were in there. And AC after on the bus, he goes, "Whew, what were y'all doing down there?" It looked a little. Thought you were gonna rip your body apart. So with that being said, it's a little different
I don't
than
wanna do any of
AC's
that.
workout.
That's funny. So, Angel, you have a position I think that's enviable in terms of being close to an NBA huddle. All right, even closer than we've ever been. And NBA huddles are not for the faint of heart. For those who have been down, things are passionate. Doesn't matter if you're winning. Doesn't matter if you're losing. Doesn't matter what team it is in the NBA. NBA huddles can be passionate. I mean, I'm not going to say do you have any stories or tell us something about this. Tell us something about this season's team. All right, how the players have been interacting with John Beeline, interacting with each other. Tell us something about this year's team that we otherwise wouldn't know.
Attentive. Very attention to detail. This is my second season, so it's just like comparing contrasts, just like from that previous season. But when you're seeing the guys and how they're huddled up together, they're all together, they're sitting down, they're looking right at him, and they're all vocal. I think even when you're looking at the players and the difference, you can see how Tristan Thompson has become a better leader. He's making sure that everybody's on the same page. Colin Sexton is receptive and listening to everybody, and even Kevin Love will grab him on the side and, have his, talks with him on the side, and he's even trying to get clarification with everyone else. So you see them that they're trying to be on the same page with one another and just making sure that they go out there and execute at the best level.
I would have a hard time doing your job, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm pretty sure
I could list a handful of them.
Right.
You can list your own.
I'm
but-
pretty sure you hear things that you cannot share.
Of course.
So how do you find that balance on like when you?
I'm sure a lot of things you can't.
I know,
Probably
most of
80%,
it, right?
80-90%.
Sometimes I
you-
walk back and I'm like, nope, can't use it.
And then depending on how the game is going, if that's how animated or how happy or how it's calm the huddle is on the timeout. So how do you decide when it's when it's John Beeline not happy with what's going on the court, and they say, okay, Angel, we're gonna go to you after the
It's got
after
to be
the timeout.
it's got to be a fine line, right?
There's
Obviously. Yeah.
absolutely. I heard from the great John Michael one time.
Oh,
If you have to question it, don't use it. And so
I
remember
heard
asking-
that advice, man. Like once my
Ignored
road
it
trip.
like all the other
if
advice.
I have to go to my producer and say, should we use or could we use? Then no. And it's all about protecting them. I mean, we have an amazing opportunity to cover them as the home broadcast. So that's a spot that, we have to cherish.
And I guess that also goes with gaining the trust from the
Absolutely.
guys, no? Your
Absolutely.
relationship with them. and-
For sure. And so even not with just the coaches, because sometimes even at halftime I'll talk to the coaches, we have a question or two. And then because they know that we have their best interests at heart, they'll wait around and say, all right, anything else you want to ask?
Have you ever asked Larry Nance what does it feel to wear number 22 or to be playing with the place where his father worked? And
Oh, he just loves talking about his dad. It's just the number one thing
Don't
on his
take-
list
yeah.
to talk about his dad.
Please don't take any advice from Rafa whatsoever.
Every time he starts, I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
here we go.
Right? Yeah, that's a
But I always ask him that question anytime I see him. Like,
I think
hey.
it was really cool that one of the games last year, he tied or went past him for offensive rebounds. And just saying that, the fact that he, is in the record books with his dad, maybe even right there with him, wearing his number and doing that is pretty cool.
Cool. Good news for the Cavs. There will be more people in that huddle, hopefully, as Cavs are getting healthier.
Absolutely. I know that my Twitter has gone off the ranks just asking for when a couple of the guys are getting back, and so
John
it's going to be
Hanson, right?
John
Dylan
Hanson, as far
Windler.
as Dylan Windler as well. But just I think it's exciting because then you can see everybody together, and we only saw John Hanson one
Right.
game, and everyone was excited about his defensive skill and what he could do in the paint. I think he was 2-3 blocks that he had in the paint, and down the stretch was a great game for them. But even with Windler, to actually be combined with that group for the rookie group, it'll be fun to see him back.
Yeah. Did you and John went fishing, right?
We did.
It was
First and last.
you went fishing at Cleveland Clinic Courts?
We did.
But there's a stream back
Did you
there.
catch anything?
Explain. Yeah. That we're leading there. I'm assuming you didn't catch anything. There's wild turkeys. There's all kind of
There's
crazy
wild turkey. I
nature
just thought
things.
it was going to be one big smorgasbord of
Of
animals,
fish.
and there weren't.
You caught nothing.
And this is how you know I'm not an outdoor girl. There was something swimming, and I was like, "There's one." He was like, "That's a tadpole." I was like, "Okay, well, can't use that." We debated throwing fish in there.
But you guys had gear and everything, right?
Gear. Thank you to Dave Dombrowski who hooked us up. We had some nice, fishing rods and bait. There were glowworms. We had worms that actually were glowing.
Yeah. And you
I'm
still-
not a fan of that.
What is that for? Like
I
blind
told
fish?
John,
I'm not
I
a
told
big-
John
I'm not a
to
big
do
nature
that.
guy.
John is
Yeah,
the
I'm
number one fisher. He's gone everywhere. He did say if he goes to Alaska, he'll, invite us. So
I'll
you
give
guys
you.
are
I'll
invited.
give you an advice. You should come to our broadcasting retreat in the summer, and you have to go fishing with Dave Dombrowski. He's really
Have
fun.
you gone fishing with Dave Dombrowski? Have you gone fishing with Dave Dombrowski?
Yes.
Really?
I've been
And
fishing.
he didn't tell me. He didn't warn me, and he said, "Yeah, you should go ahead." You should
No,
go fishing."
I
So
like.
can you
And
explain
he
it?
went only once too.
But see, I like when Dave takes us out. He sometimes takes a broadcasting group. It hasn't happened for a couple of years since you've been here, but it's like fishing for dummies. It's one of those things where you go out on the boat.
They throw
and there
the
are-
line for
There
you.
are 2 or 3 pros out there. They throw 8 lines out. They stick them in a hole. I don't know what it is. Then when the fish picks it up, the thing starts going. So all you have to do is stand up and reel it in.
That's it.
Basically it. So it's like fishing for dummies. So all you
So
do is go out
hours
and
and
enjoy
hours.
beverages and sandwiches and everything
That's a
else.
good one.
and
You
fish.
should have led with that.
So that I like that. That's fun. I don't know. What was your experience like? Are you
I thought it was gonna
Tread
be
care-
me fighting with the fish and throwing it.
Dave
and
Dombrowski
it
is
was
his executive producer, by the way. So
Yeah.
be careful with what you're about to
no,
say.
but
Right.
we love him. I
Okay,
just
but
don't
yeah,
like fishing with him.
I don't know what experience you're talking about. What was your bad
Did you
experience?
It was just that. It was just I thought. Just
Were you not on a boat?
I was on the boat,
All right.
and we left like at 4 a.m. I got a little
You got a little seasick,
seasick
there we
in
go.
the beginning, and then got a second wind, and then I realized what was going on. It was just what he just explained. They would do all the job except for just the reeling it in. So I just didn't find the fun of it. But fishing could be fun.
It could
Nothing
be.
nothing against fishing.
He's
It
easy
could
to
be.
he's easy to use. Not easy to please.
No.
Yeah.
Clearly, no. This is a guy I see skydiving or something.
He needs a little more. Hey, last thoughts before we say goodbye about where this team is, wrapping up this homestand. The Cavs. I mean, we know what this team is about. We're still developing players. We're still developing and learning a system. John Beeline's trying to establish a culture. Your thoughts about where this team is right now as we get to the quarter pole of the season?
Absolutely. I think they're trending in the right direction, especially getting the bodies that they need back. I think it's very important, too, to understand, what you're going through from seeing success and then seeing adversity. And they've seen both already in this season. And I think when you're looking at that Bucks second half, you see they can do what
Right.
it needs to be done as far as moving the ball, the 32 assists, the 25 amongst the starters, the amount of threes that Coach Beeline's offense wants to get up and what they're able to do in that offense. So 10 threes in that third quarter. Even just speaking to the guys, speaking to Coach Beeline, he said, that's the type of team that I want to see in the second half. That's what they want to be in the second half. So putting 4 quarters together and just moving forward with that.
That was a Milwaukee game in which the Cavs were down 22 early in the third quarter, brought it all the way back against the top 5 defense, by the way, in the NBA, get back within 3 before the Bucks were able to close the door. But I think you're right. I mean, I think that's where this team is right now in terms of trending in the right direction. Hopefully it continues. Angel,
Absolutely.
always good seeing you.
Bye, guys.
6:30 tomorrow.
Okay.
Get on my plan. We'll go in the afternoon.
I like your plan better.
Yeah, I know. More Cavs HQ right after this. We welcome you back on Cavs HQ. Our thanks to Angel Gray for joining us in the last segment. As we discussed with Joe Gabriele, we're about at the quarter pole of the season. You and I made our predictions in the Western Conference, what teams we thought would be in the playoffs. Some correct, some not correct. We're going to talk about that in this segment. When you get to this point, through the first 5 or 10 games, there's always the standings can look odd, right? Strange things can happen at the beginning of the season. Now is about the time when
20 games is a good sample.
Right, they're starting to look like they should. I think the Eastern Conference, let's take a look at the Eastern Conference quickly. I think the West is more interesting, but the East, to me, I mean, really, the Raptors are playing great basketball. The Heat are playing great basketball. Those are a little bit surprising to me, but for the most part, the East looks about like people thought it was going to look.
And I would throw in the Celtics as well, 2, 3, and 4, because the Celtics had people that left in the offseason, and also I think they lost 4 of the starters for last year. And then the injuries.
Kyrie's gone, right?
And what's his name?
Aaron Baines is gone.
Yep. So that's 3 big guys of the defensive unit as well, the Horford and Baines. So, and then they had the injuries to Brown and not to Hayward.
Yeah.
So for them to be in the 4th spot, it's a really good start for
I agree.
them.
Terry Rozier's not there either. They lost their backup point guard as well. All right, let's take a look at the West. To me, this is where it gets interesting. The Phoenix Suns were the surprise team early, all right? And when we talk about things being wacky early, the Suns were up around 3rd or 4th. I think that eventually is going to settle down. I don't think that's a playoff team. What, you think the Suns are a playoff team?
I know, but I'm amazed how they put that team together. We were a little surprised in the offseason about the people that were going there.
Yeah.
And now
James Jones got some grief.
James Jones got
some grief. I think Monty Williams has done a great job. Do I think that that's a playoff team? No.
Okay.
Particularly not
young.
in the West. Yeah.
The name you don't see there is the one we have nothing to do with, but it's the injuries.
Both Rafa and I had the Warriors in our top 8, and the Warriors starting this week were 4-17 and in the basement of the Western Conference. That team I had in, so that team's going to have to come out. I don't think the Timberwolves are a playoff team either. I think eventually Portland's not shown there either. Portland got off to a rotten start. They had won 3 in a row coming into this week. And how about San Antonio? They're not on the page.
That's the team you had.
I know.
There was one big difference in our
I had San
forecast.
Antonio. Yes.
I thought the Mavericks were going to be a playoff team.
I did not.
And you thought the Spurs would take that spot. Because at the end of the day, we agree on the fact that there was only like 1, maybe 2 spots that could switch.
Right. We thought there was one because we thought Oklahoma City was coming out.
Correct.
And the Lakers were going in, and then there might be one more to play with.
Yes.
But nobody anticipated Golden State coming out, or at least coming out as badly as they did.
Yes.
I mean, people had Golden State not making the playoffs, but I don't think anybody had them 15th.
Well, we didn't know they were going to lose the whole team to injuries.
Right, obviously. So that's that's where that interplay goes. But San Antonio, I was all over you. I said, pick against San Antonio at your own peril. And sure enough, they got off to one of the worst starts that they've seen under Greg Popovich.
And not only that, but like the longest losing streak during Popovich era. They're in danger of losing the longest streak of seasons with a winning record. And it just bad all around for them.
Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, clearly in there. Rockets are going to be in there. Jazz are going to be in there. Mavericks, I'm not buying in.
I can't believe you're still not buying Luka.
I like Luka, but they're they're playing really well as a team. Cavs saw them twice.
You got to give a little credit to Rick Carlisle, too.
They're scoring points and points and points and points with role players, with guys who were basically role players outside of Porzingis and Luka Doncic. And I give Rick Carlisle tons of credit. I mean, they're playing some great basketball. Yeah. Are they probably going to make the playoffs? Probably. I think that's going to be one that I had wrong. I do think Sacramento's still a fringe team that can get in there. 8-10 starting this week. I don't know if I count out the Thunder.
See, I don't put the Thunder in.
I didn't have them in either, but
based on talent, I think Minnesota has a better chance of holding on.
Maybe.
We don't know what's going to happen with Portland. Remember, we still have the big date in February coming up where the teams are going to have to decide whether they're going to be buying or selling.
Right.
But that's going to be a big time for Portland and also for the Spurs. What are they going to do?
Portland needs to get healthy. I mean, Zach Collins gone, Yusuf Nurkic gone. Those guys are gone until the second half of the season, so they're going to have to do something. Spurs are interesting to me to see. I don't think the Spurs are going to stay
with everybody that came back for the Spurs.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to stay where they're. DeJounte Murray's, but I mean, they are a team that.
And the thing is, they're in a division where it's hard to make up that many.
That's true.
That many games.
Especially when, the Rockets are playing great basketball. The Mavericks are playing great basketball. You're playing those teams 4 times a season. I mean, it's not the easiest thing. The West to me is interesting, though.
Can I tell you something off subject here?
Yeah, you can tell me
that I thought
was
really amazing. And you tweeted something about how in Dallas, there was a lot of Nowitzki
Yeah.
around. I love that logo they
It's
added
neat.
to the
That's
court.
really neat.
When he's
For the-
doing
yeah.
the fadeaway with the knee,
For
with
those
the
who
high
aren't
knee.
right, for those who aren't as familiar, it's Dirk off one leg, the patented shot right in,
Right next
basically
to
the angle, right at the angle that he used to shoot it
Well, he
most
made it,
frequently.
yeah, we made
Yeah,
a
it's
living,
really
yeah.
neat. That's a team's a good story.
Yeah.
That team's a neat story. They really rolled the dice in making the move to move up 2 spots to be able to pick Luka Doncic. They switched 3 and 5 and traded away their first rounder next season. We've talked about this before. If you miss on that pick, if you pick the wrong guy and you mortgage your next year's selection as well, you set your team back for years. But they knew who they wanted.
But if there's a team or an organization, a front office that really knows the European basketball, is the Nelsons.
They have a good track record.
You know, they,
I mean, when
they
you have
really.
Dirk, when you have Dirk for 20 years.
Yeah, but they were
carries a lot of
involved with
weight.
coaching Lithuania. They've been the Nelson Don and now the son, junior. So they again, it doesn't take away from the gamble they took.
Yeah, it took a big gamble.
Took a lot of people by surprise how much they really put all their eggs in one basket, and it's working so far.
How about the blockbuster trade too for Porzingis? I
Yes.
mean, I think it's a no-brainer for Dallas, but the timing was perfect. They bring him in, and it's been a real nice
And
combination.
not only that, but the Knicks don't even have the big piece that came on that trade.
That's what I
the
mean.
Andre Jordan is across the
Well,
the
right.
river.
And the point was, I mean, and they knew they probably weren't going to retain him. But I think the point was that Dallas was able to capitalize on the Knicks at the right time, because what were the Knicks doing? Clearing cap space to be able to bring in max free agents, neither of whom eventually came. Interesting story. Interesting Western Conference. We shall see how it plays out as we roll on. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this, right here on CavsHQ. We're back to wrap things up here on Cavs HQ. This week, the longest homestand of the season comes to an end, and then there is some tricky sailing ahead, Rafa.
Difficult teams, difficult games, and if you look at the schedule and our friends on the TV side, on the radio side, we finished Detroit, Orlando, but then we have 4 or 5 games on the road, all of them with teams that made the playoff last year. And what you don't see on the screen right now is the one after Milwaukee is against the
Toronto.
current champions,
Yep.
the Raptors.
Yeah, that's
So-
on the road as well. So
on the
actually,
road as well,
yeah,
yes.
so it's 5 of 6 on the road. Sixers, Celtics, Rockets, Spurs, Bucks, and Raptors. Lone home game in there. You can get your tickets at Cavs.com Wednesday the 11th against James Harden and the Houston Rockets. Rafa, John, Cavs HQ. Thanks for watching.